Stranger Things Season 3 has been out for a while now. I thoroughly cried my eyes out in the end, and now to lift my spirits back up, I decided to create some recipes inspired by the show for you guys. The foods in Stranger Things can be divided into 3 categories. The first part is just store-bought candy and snacks. Part 2 would be all sorts of junk food, fast food, from fries to ice cream to popcorn, corn dogs, burgers, you name it. And then there's home-cooked foods and family-style dinners that Mrs. Wheeler usually cooks up, so veggies and gravy, meat, potatoes, that sort of thing. Some of my ideas are more so inspired by the show than exact replicas, just so you know. Alright, let's get into it. Starting with the hands-down most iconic food of the show. Now, my personal reference point for these could only be the in plastic wrapped eggy waffles I used to eat a lot when I was a kid. Grab a bowl and add the following: spelt flour, baking powder, corn or tapioca starch, kala namak, which is going to give you the egg type flavor, turmeric for the color, and raw sugar. Set that aside and grab a second bowl for the wet ingredients. Non-dairy milk. I used vanilla soy, that's why this kind of looks like orange juice. Apple cider vinegar, applesauce, didn't have any. I only had apple banana baby food, but works the same. Lastly, make sure to add in vanilla if you were just using regular non-dairy milk before. Combine wet and dry until smooth. Bring your waffle iron to medium-high. I got this one from Amazon looking for a Belgian-style waffle maker. You can cheat and just make pancakes out of this mix, of course. I melted down some coconut oil with a bit of vegan butter. Make sure to grease both sides well, even if it says non-stick, just to be safe. To get them really big and fluffy, we'll need a heaping ladle of batter for each waffle. Mine took 3 to 4 minutes to get done. I served them with vegan butter and agave syrup, and they are truly the fluffiest of waffles I've ever made. My family told me that these don't taste vegan at all, which I guess is a compliment. For idea number 2, I wanted to take a look at one of my favorite scenes from the show. It's Nancy, Jonathan, and Murray having breakfast in season 2. Murray made them scrambled eggs and some sort of either fried rice or potatoes. I'm not sure, so I went with rice for this one. I think I'm wrong. But for the egg part, I decided to go for scrambled eggs made out of chickpea flour. So it's soy-free and you don't need a blender or food processor either. In a small-ish sized bowl, combine the following: chickpea flour. I found this one at Den's, so at the organic store. But I recently also saw it at Edeka, so regular grocery stores might have this as well. Nutritional yeast, turmeric, black pepper, smoked paprika, and kala namak. I only had regular salt this time. Next step, add aquafaba, the liquid that's in a can of chickpeas. Unsweetened non-dairy milk, sparkling water, and apple cider vinegar. Bring a big non-stick skillet with a little bit of oil or vegan butter to medium-high. You won't need this much butter. I tried to remake this shot, which didn't really pan out. Once hot, pour in the mixture. Just leave it until you see a lot of bubbles forming at the top. This takes about 2 minutes. Then flip the entire thing and let it cook on the other side for another 2 minutes. And then break it into smaller pieces. Move them around, letting everything cook for another 2 to 3 minutes or so, and then it should be done. I know this looks more like kaiserschmarrn. That being said, it still tastes really, really good, and I actually prefer this over scrambled tofu. Yeah. Onto the super simple fried rice. First, saute a finely minced onion, in a teaspoon of oil for about 5 minutes until translucent. Adding tomato puree in the end, which is optional and gives it a color that is very far from the original dish. While the onions are cooking, grab a small bowl. Once again, add chickpea flour, nutritional yeast, chickpea water, sparkling water, and soy sauce, or vegan Worcestershire sauce in my case. Back to the pan, add some previously cooked brown rice, the chickpea mix we just created, and mix it around until the sauce doesn't stick to the pan anymore. Season to taste, and that's it. Remember when Eleven first flees the lab and then finds shelter at Benny's diner? There she eats fries, a pint of ice cream, and burgers. You can't really exactly make out what type of burger she's eating. I'm assuming it's just a plain hamburger. Here is a really simple and easy to make vegan burger patty. It's adapted from my favorite tofu burger recipe, which is from my ebook. By the way, my ebook is on sale at the moment. Check it out, link is down below. Plug. To a large bowl, add 1 block of firm, plain tofu. Break it apart using your fingers. Next up, add 1 sauteed onion, finely minced. If you have big pieces of onion, it can happen that the patties fall apart when frying them, so keep them small. Add white tahini, a whole bunch of condiments, so ketchup, mustard, the vegan Worcestershire sauce or soy sauce, cornstarch, oats, and spices such as smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. Mix it up with a spoon first and then switch to your hands, really kneading the mix as if you were making bread. Form the mix into patties. Make them a lot smaller than mine. That way they're easier to fry, less likely to fall apart, and you get more burgers out of this. Bring a large frying pan to medium-high with a tablespoon of oil. Let it get hot and then add the patties, frying them for about 4 minutes on each side. And then lastly, build the burger. I kept this one as plain as I could muster it. So ketchup, mustard, the tofu patty. I also added pickles and fried onion because it reminds me of the IKEA hot dog, another thing I used to love as a kid. So yeah. Last but not least, let's take a look at season 3. The first thing you'd think of food-wise has to be ice cream, right? Rather than showing you the 100th way of how to make an ice cream, I decided to try to make like actual ice cream, like the unhealthy kind. You won't even need a blender for this, just a bit of time. And if you happen to have an ice cream machine, dust it off and use it for this recipe. I don't have one, it's not essential, but would make things a bit easier. Grab a small saucepan. Pour in non-dairy milk. Vanilla, I added 2 types. We're making vanilla ice cream, by the way. Did I already say that? Vegan cream or vegan creamer. I'm using the applesauce one here. Coconut oil, vegan butter, and maple or agave syrup. Bring it up to a simmer. Meanwhile, in a small bowl, combine non-dairy milk and cornstarch, and make sure there aren't a lot of clumps of starch in the liquid. Also add a generous pinch of salt. Pour this starch mix into the other liquid while stirring thoroughly. Still on medium-high, let the mixture thicken for about 3 minutes. Then take it off the heat. Pour it into a deep dish like a big mixing bowl like I used. You could also use a loaf pan like a deep baking pan. Let this mixture cool down for at least 30 minutes on the counter. Now, if you have an ice cream maker, pour the mix into the machine and let it churn until it turns into ice cream. If you don't have one, transfer this mix to the freezer. Now, every hour, mix it quickly with a hand mixer or just a normal whisk for just a few minutes, then put it back into the freezer. Now continue this process at least 5 times. Once every hour, just take it out really quickly and then put it back into the freezer. If at some point you are not at home anymore or you want to go to sleep, for example, just let it freeze overnight and then the next morning let it defrost for 30 minutes or so and mix it again. So we're basically churning like an ice cream machine, just way slower. Just play around with it until it reaches your desired state of consistency. Now, flavor-wise, this is the best vegan vanilla ice cream I have ever had. The consistency is a solid 7 out of 10. But yeah, that was the best that I could do. By the way, big shout out to the girl at the counter of Balaram, a vegan ice cream place in Berlin. I couldn't find vegan ice cream waffles anywhere, and so yeah, she gave me a bunch of them for free, so thank you. And that's it, my friends. If you enjoyed this video, I have made 2 of these in the past before. There's a Harry Potter themed one and a SpongeBob themed one on my channel already, so I'll leave those in the description and in the end card. Also, if you want to support my channel more, besides liking the video and leaving a comment, you can check out my recipe ebook. It is 50% off for the entirety of this summer. The link will be the first one in the description. Yeah, thank you so much.